what originally started off as a sprint has now turned into a marathon on our hands. And I'm talking about labor and federal government, minimum wage, consequential adjustment, collective bargaining. I could go on and on. But before we speak with our guests in Abuja, as we count down to 7 p.m. when the negotiations will resume, let's listen to Labor leader and what he has to say.
Joined to reconvene by 7 p.m. today, and therefore progress will be made, and at the appropriate time we should be able to give the details.
But you said the date of 16th that you gave.
Yes, certainly. The 16th is to convey a meeting and address the issues.
Can we say there is a guaranteed...
If we are already at the table trying to sort out the issue, every dispute will actually be concluded on a round table, and that's what we are trying to do.
So let's join a professor of public administration, Professor Isaac Obasi. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Now, this process has been, thank you. This process has been largely a closed-door affair over the past few days, and a lot of Nigerians want to understand how these negotiations work with labor and the federal government. And I understand that this is an area you are vast in. So how do these, negotiations work? How do the concessions come up? The whole process. Can you just walk us through it?
Thank you very much. I enjoyed the opening statement that says started as a sprint and now is a marathon. But the right word there is foot dragging. It's been foot dragging, not only in this current negotiation, but you look into history, it's been like that. Government is not in a hurry to implement new minimum wage. It's agreed on, usually agreed under duress, if you like, because Labour had always extracted concession from government through elections. And when the 30,000 minimum wage was agreed, it was prior to election, and the National Assembly immediately did that to gain a mileage. Having said that, let me state clearly that the spirit of collective bargaining and its principles have indeed been clearly demonstrated now. Judge against this fact, this spirit and culture of collective bargaining, we can say government and labor can be commended for exhibiting a kind of culture of tolerance, in keeping the negotiation going to the extent that they're able to maintain negotiation in spite of the difficult situation they find themselves.
All right.
But let me also say right away that they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. Labor doesn't have a choice in this matter. Right now, they can't do more other than to make sure they extract from the government the maximum they can do. They didn't start too well about that. Why? Because if you want to give a threat to a strike, your teeth must be biting. If you are proposing a strike and you don't have the most critical aspect of your teeth that can bite, not going along with you, you can't be a toothless bulldog. So we can commend them for trying to hold on to negotiation.
If I get you correctly, are you referring to the ULC? If you say the important tooth, are you referring to the ULC, or what are you referring to here?
Yeah, you asked me, I should expatiate on this collective bargaining. How does it work? And I'm saying that I commended them for getting it along up to now. And even though it's a what you call a foot dragging process, but we commend them for having exhibited the spirit of tolerance that needed in collective bargaining. If you don't have it, they would have been broken up.
All right.
Having said that, and I said again, that labor has no choice. They have no choice. They can only do well along this line. Because if they want to give a strike as they... if they wanted to go on strike, they can't go on strike without USC at all. They can't.
All right.
It's the teeth that bites in them.
Okay, so if you can predict a middle ground, because that's a major thing, we need resolution as soon as possible. What would you say should be the middle ground such that both parties say, you know what, we're fine, let's move on?
No, I am happy they are shifting. They are shifting. And what you provided was the starting point of both sides. But right as of today, before night, I don't know what the night will bring, government has shifted. to 17% for those 07 to 14. Government has shifted from 6.5% to about 11 or 12. So it has shifted. Labor also has shifted from 29 to 24% for 07 to 14.
Okay.
You can see it shifted from 20 again for 7 and for 15 and 17 to 17. So you can see the spirit of bargaining is on, and it's all about haggling, trying to get a midpoint, like you rightly pointed out. But that midpoint, well, if they agreed on 20, assuming government agrees to pay 20 to 07 to 14, and perhaps 17 to 15 to 17, well, good or fine, but that's, that's not fair
Professor
enough.
Bassi, I really hate to butt in at this point.
Was on 66%.
Professor Bassi, I understand this is an ongoing conversation, so we'll definitely appreciate getting your views.